Greetings and thank you for creating a BIMAS account. My name is Achilles Bardos and I am the president of Edumetrics and also a co-author of the BIMAS. In addition, I also serve as a faculty of school psychology at the University of Northern Colorado. The first things that we need to do when we set up the BIMAS account is to create the database. The database consists of three components. We will build the schools, almost think of it as the physical structures. We will invite and install there the staff, and by staff we mean the principal, assistant principal, the teachers, related services, and all of these individuals will have differential access to the platform. And finally, we will be importing the students. The process of building the BIMAS database is twofold. You have the option to create any of these three that I mentioned: schools, staff, and students, in a manual approach, manual data entry, or we can use the importing facilities that we have, three data files that you can import into the database. So what we're going to do first is we're going to build the schools, and thereafter I will have two separate little videos that show you how you're going to enter the staff and the students. Again, thank you for adopting the BIMAS, and I will move next with the setup of the buildings. So let us now expand our campus by creating three new buildings for our school district. And this time, however, we're going to use the importing utility. So I'm going to click here on this particular file. It's called the sample CSV file. Again, as I said earlier, CSV file stands for comma separated value. So I'm going to download from here, and it says to me save the file. Sure, I'm going to save the file. And the file is right here downloading on Firefox. So I'm going to click on the file that says import schools. It opens it in Excel, which is my spreadsheet file. And let me show you a few little things that are kind of tricky, not really that difficult, but kind of tricky with CSV files. CSV files do not hold formatting. So anything that you make that might be beautiful in terms of colors and so forth, when you save it as a CSV file, it just needs text only. So when you open this file in here, first thing we should be doing is we should actually clicking over here on this little section, and then go between the two little cells and double click when you see the cross. This expands the line. Of course, we don't want it to be so ugly, but because of this message in here, the column increases. Anyhow, this one says make sure the school name that you use in this file is also used exactly as typed in the second import step with the staff member. So we need to make sure that whatever school name we give in here, it appears also in all the other files. So I'm going to actually delete this message in here. I don't need it. And also a very important one is to make sure that while you're doing all of this business with the BIMAS platform, that you notify your IT department and tell them that they need to whitelist our domain name. So the expression is whitelist. That means whenever emails arriving from Edumetrics, they will not be blocked for any reason by your servers and security of your email system. So I'm going to delete this message in here, and this message in here we don't really need. And now I'm going to click over here again and double click this, and we'll make it look a little bit better. Anyhow, as you can see here, I have some of these schools, and I have, for example, a couple of schools as examples for you to see how they've been created. And of course, I really don't need these schools. What I'm going to need is I'm going to actually take this one and I'm going to create the Argos second elementary. And I'm going to create the Argos second middle school. And I'm going to create the third, which is Argos second high school. And now I have the three buildings that I need. Of course, in your case, you will probably not be tight. If you have 30, 40, 60, 100 buildings in your district, you don't want to do this manually. Somehow, somewhere in your student database, you have a way, and if you are not the IT person doing or watching this, have your IT person generate for you a file that has this information for the buildings: the school name, the address, and the second address if it exists, the city, the state, a zip code, the country, and of course, who is the principal, first name, last name, their email, and perhaps, and also their title. So that really is the only thing that is needed. What you need to keep in mind, however, is that we really need to make sure these headers are exactly the same in the import file that you're going to create. So if your IT person generates a file that says school name but doesn't have the little line underneath there and the asterisk, most likely the import will not work for you. So importing files are very, very picky, and we need to follow exactly the way that this file is set up. So here we have the names of the schools, and let's keep this address as well, and also we will remove that one. We don't have one of those. They're all in Colorado, so here it is, and the city, we will call this one here Fort Collins, which is the other campus for these particular buildings. Again, I can click it every time I see this and it will expand. So here it is, and I'm gonna make sure that I copy this over here, and now they're all in Fort Collins. There, their zip code, and then I'm gonna make sure they have the same zip code, and everything else pretty much stays the same. So Dave Kuhlman, Kuhlman, it will be good because we wanna make sure that we use the same email for everyone in our system. I highly recommend that for staff, you always use the emails from the school system, no private emails, and there is a reason for that. Number one, security. If in the event that somebody emails us from this account, we know that it's a legitimate person to respond to. Number two, sometimes teachers and staff are also parents, and if we use the parent feature to collect data on the BIMAS, the parent private email needs to be showing up in the specific field later on, and keep the school email for school business. So this case in here, I have Ben and Ben.Decker and Ben.Decker at argos.com. We'll create his email, and here I have Sam, and for Sam we'll just make it sweet and short, argos.com, and there we are. There are their titles, and that's all we need. So in the event, so now we're going to save this file. So it is very important to maintain the CSV format in the for the file. Nothing different. So I'm going to actually put this file into the proper folder in my system, so I will have it. And it is CSV. I click save. It's existing. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. And now that we have created this school, no data in between those rows in here. Here it can stay blank. I'm going to narrow this file in here. And now I'm coming back into my importing section. So here I'm going to press browse. And the computer is going to ask me where exactly is the file that you want to import. So it's this one. So let's click on this one. It says that the file that I have, it validates it. It's valid. There are 3 new schools that I've created. And also I can press now import. And it says success. These files have been created with these administrators. So we're done from this page. I can click on the schools. I can click view all schools. And now here are my 3 new schools: Argos Elementary, Argos Second High School, and Argos Second Middle Schools. I click on the elementary, and here is the information. So that is how you import schools if you have a number of these buildings in your account. You can choose whether you import this, or if you have a small number, 5, 10 buildings, that you do it manually. It is totally up to you. So that's about it in terms of the schools. Next, what we're going to do is we're gonna work on staff. We're going to create our staff for the buildings that we just created.